everybody. I'm Sheri Winston here at the Center for the Intimate Arts, and this is the Juicy Bits blog. One of the things I do in this blog is answer people's questions. So here is a great question somebody sent me. She said, I've only experienced an orgasm from intercourse alone once in my entire life. At that time, I was on top. It was 20 years ago. It hasn't happened since, and I really want to. Can you help me? The answer is, well, yeah, I can. Here's the deal. Some things to know first before we start talking about having orgasms from intercourse, and this is for women I'm referring to, is to understand that most women do not have orgasms from intercourse. Our culture says intercourse is real sex and that's how you're supposed to have orgasms, but for most women that's not the best or easiest way for them to be orgasmic. So let's just start with understanding that for more than half of women, intercourse by itself does not get them where they need to go to have an orgasm. That being understood, now let's go to the next step, which is how could you learn to have orgasms from intercourse? Now, the thing about women and their orgasmic journey is that for most women, we need to go through a series of steps. The first step is developing orgasmic proficiency with ourselves. And orgasmic proficiency means sooner or later, one way or another, you can have an orgasm. And generally speaking, the best place to figure that out, the best place to learn is in your solo sex laboratory. So once a woman has discovered what she needs to do to get herself to her orgasm, once she's learned how to use all her tools, she understands her anatomy, she understands her mind as well as her body, and her heart and her spirit, she knows how to use the things that work for her to get her to orgasm, and she's got at least one pathway that works. Once a woman has learned that, then the next step is learning how to have an orgasm with a partner. And again, intercourse is not usually the best way to learn how to do that. Having an orgasm with a partner present is a whole nother set of skills. Obviously, if we've got good communication skills, we can tell and show our partner what it is we do when we're by ourselves. That can be extremely helpful. But we also have to learn how to allow ourselves to go into that trance state in the presence of another person and hopefully with the assistance of another person. Once we've become proficient at having orgasms with another person present, and often with their help, then we can start developing advanced orgasm skills. And I think having an orgasm with intercourse is one of those skills. And the way that we can develop it is by first combining intercourse with the other kinds of stimulation that usually work to get us orgasmic. So for most women, that's clitoral stimulation, usually with our hand or somebody else's hand, or a vibrator. Those are two of the main pathways to orgasm. So you start by having intercourse and also adding clitoral stimulation. You can also add all the other kinds of ways we can turn ourselves on. If you learn how to use your breathing and sound, your pelvic floor muscles, all different things that I talk about in different video blogs and write about, and it's going to be in my next book, so there'll be lots more information about how to do that. But you learn how to use those tools. But let's just say you're using your hand or a vibrator at the same time you're having intercourse. And you do that, and then you start to intermittently remove that additional stimulation. You start to train yourself, in other words. So if you're having intercourse, you're stimulating the clitoris, or your partner is, you take your hand off for a while. Perhaps you're now using other tools like enhancing your arousal with your breathing and sound or imagery. Pelvic floor muscles are pretty key here. Using those can really help keep your arousal level up. And if your arousal drops, you just put your hand back on. Obviously, you're going to have to be having intercourse in positions that allow access to your clitoris with your hand or your vibrator, if that's the training technique you're using. One of the things this woman mentioned was that the one time it did happen was when she was on top. That's a great position because it's easy for us or our partner to stimulate our clitoris. But there's another reason that a woman on top position is often the best position for women to be orgasmic with penetration. And that's because when we're on top, we tend to move and grind and rock so that our whole erectile network, all of the arousal tissue that forms a ring, or actually multiple rings, around our genitals and in our genitals, are in contact with our partner. When we're in a position where the penetrating partner's on top, often what's happening is lots of in and out thrusting. And in and out thrusting doesn't tend to give women that same kind of stimulation. So get on top. That can certainly do it. Use other tools like your hands, like vibrators, your partner's hands. Use your other internal tools like breathing and movement. And if your partner is on top, encourage them to have intercourse in the same way that it would be if you were on top, which is less in and out thrusting and more grinding and rocking where you stay in contact. Put all those things together, play with them a lot. Remember, this isn't about reaching a goal, it's about expanding our skills. This isn't anything you have to learn. Nobody has to learn any of this, but if you want to, it is something that you can learn. Be patient, have fun. Remember, it's play, like making music. You're just having an improv and using all those different tools, using all those different techniques. Have fun, and probably sooner or later, orgasm will start to happen with intercourse. So remember, it's a learnable skill. You can learn it if you want. You don't have to. So this is Sheri Winston here at the Center for the Intimate Arts, and this is today's Juicy Bits blog.